Testing. Alright, we're good. Let me turn off the audio capture. Okay. I went live without my mic plugged in. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers lose in Atlanta. Kind of got blown out by the Atlanta Hawks tonight. I don't remember the final score, but the Portland Trail Blazers drop yet another game. They've lost 6 out of 7 in what was supposed to be the start of the easiest stretch of their season. They're losing without Damian Lillard, but these are some games that, in my opinion, they shouldn't be dropping, and they still are, for reasons that aren't the offensive end. You know, you lose Dame, you lose a lot on offense, but they've been all right offensively. The Blazers right now cannot play a shredded defense. The Blazers right now cannot guard a paperclip. The Blazers right now are just... It's just some of the roughest defense that I've ever seen from the Portland Trail Blazers, man, and it's definitely been a frustrating experience to say the least. So I'll get into that. Eric's at work, so I'm not going to have Eric on, so I should be able to engage with chat more than I usually am. So let's get chat popping off. How's everybody doing tonight? How are you guys doing? You guys excited for a possible top 10 pick? I see. I mean, I don't know, man. This game was just a disaster. Had a good first quarter. Only gave up 23 points, which, you know, isn't great for most teams against the Atlanta Hawks, but for us, that was an accomplishment. Then during the second and third quarters, we give up a whopping 84 points. 84 points in 2 quarters. That's basically a half's worth. We give up 84 points to the Atlanta Hawks, which is a lottery team. They've been playing better lately, especially at home, but my goodness, that defense was pretty pathetic. And it's been a lot of the problems I've been talking about all year, but it just seemed like we were not playing with any effort today. We really just didn't I don't know, man. The energy level just wasn't there. It wasn't there. We're on this road trip, man, without Dame, with limited number of bodies. But I feel like we've lost what little edge we've had. Necron says, I'm pissed off but understand, want that top 10 pick and Trent and Little minutes. Yeah. Can we all agree that Stotts has run his course? I mean, I was saying that. I've been saying that for a while, man. The fact that they've shown no defensive improvement is telling to me. Stotts has never been a good defensive coach, and I honestly don't think he values the defensive side of the ball enough. And right now, man, we have a team that's just showing no defensive improvement. Like, even horrible defenders should show defensive improvement. Arguably, they should show more defensive improvement than anybody because they have the most improvement to make. I know guys that we're playing are limited by their, lack of athleticism or experience. You know, Swanigan, Gabriel, guys like that. We're not playing a lot of good defenders. We really only have 2 good defenders in the rotation right now. I mean, 3. You got Ariza, Trent, and Whiteside. But even that lineup is way too... It's just a poor lineup offensively or defensively. The start of that third quarter, we gave up... I don't know how many points it was in the first 6 minutes of that quarter. Let me do the math here. We gave up like 24 points in the first 6 minutes of the quarter. And that was with our starting lineup in, with 3 good defenders in. See, this is what kind of confuses me, is you have Trent, who's been really good defensively this year. You have Ariza, who's a good defender. You have Whiteside, who is supposedly a really good defender, who leads the league in blocks, whatever. But yet we're still giving up 24 points in 6 minutes against the Atlanta Hawks. It was probably under 6 minutes. It was probably in like 5.5 minutes. And I just don't understand why even our lineups with good defenders are so bad off defensively if it's not for just them lacking effort or them not being on the same page. I gotta mute this whole page. What do you guys think? I want to hear your guys' reasoning, because I've been talking about reasons why our defense has struggled all season long, but since we don't have Eric here, I want to hear what you guys want to think, and I can respond to most of it. So what aspects of our defense do you think we're struggling with the most? Because there's a number of different things I can point to that I've pointed to all season. At this point, I'm just a broken record. You know what I mean? The team is a broken record. The team keeps talking about how they know what they need to do better, and they got to improve the defense, and they will, and they'll make a playoff push. But we're not seeing it, and we've kind of heard that all year. You know what I mean? We always start slow. We'll pick it up later in the season. Oh, we know what we got to do. We just got to play with more energy. You know, I'm kind of tired of the post-game interviews because it involves players talking about, oh, we need to improve. We need to do this. You know, but we can figure this out. We'll figure this out. You got Dame on Twitter a couple days ago. You know, a fan telling him, can't wait for you to be on the couch watching. Or what was it? Can't wait. I don't know. I forget the quote. But basically, Dame is still kind of tweeting about how they're going to make the playoffs. And that's kind of the vibe from this team. It's like, oh, we still got time. We'll figure it out. We'll make the playoffs. There's no way we could miss the playoffs. But now we have 21 games left. The Grizzlies are going to win tonight. They are beating the Lakers right now. They're beating the Lakers by 20 at home with a minute 45 left. So we're going to lose a game on them. I don't know if the Pelicans played tonight, but that's the other team that could pass us up, but we're in 10th right now. We're in 10th. We're going to lose a game on the Grizzlies. And I don't see this changing because, yeah, we'll get Dame back, but we're still going to lose games that we shouldn't because of our defense. You know, getting Dame back isn't going to miraculously improve our defense from the defense we saw tonight, which gave up 84 in 2 quarters against the Atlanta Hawks, to a defense that's consistently helping us win games. That's the thing, is like, if we were struggling offensively, but our defense was better and we were still dropping the same games that we're dropping, I'd be a little bit more encouraged because we get Dame back and it'll be a huge boost to the offense. But our offense is actually, in my opinion, doing all right without Dame. It's the defense, and Dame's not going to fix that. So that's why I'm kind of frustrated right now. Right now, we're basically tied with 2 other teams for 10th. We're tied with the Kings. We're tied with the Spurs. We're only a game and a half ahead of the Phoenix Suns. So some of you might view that as a good thing, you know? If we're not going to make the playoffs, like, let's get a good pick. But it's just, you know, it's just frustrating that game in, game out, we see no defensive improvement, and it just goes back to the coaching staff for me. Terry Stotts is not a good defensive coach. We lost Vanderpool, which kind of helped our defense, but it's like, okay, we need to replace him with a good defensive coach, or we need to get a head coach that knows how to make a positive impact on that end. And right now, you're not seeing improvement from anybody defensively. You're seeing regression. And the fact that we're on game 61 right now without seeing improvement defensively, when we're making obvious mistakes, we're making huge mental mistakes, and we're making mistakes that should be fixable if we committed to fixing them. You know, we're making a lot of mistakes that isn't based on, oh, Caleb's too slow to get out and contest that 3, or Caleb's too slow to guard that guy on the perimeter. Those aren't really the mistakes I'm talking about. We're making the same mental mistakes we've made all season long, mistakes that shouldn't be made by any set of NBA players. It doesn't matter how bad or good they are. You know, it's not a personnel-based thing. We're making mistakes that are mental and kind of ridiculous. Like, some of the mistakes we made defensively are stuff that we should be seeing improvement in, especially considering how often we make them. We should see some improvement, but we're not seeing any, and I think that's a testament, or I think that's an indictment of the coaching staff. Shout out to Kyle Wilson for the $5 donation. He says, our big issue is that we don't rotate on threes, especially corner threes, and then we don't collapse the boards or box out. At least we got the Timbers. I'm not a Timbers fan. I don't watch soccer, but those of you who are Timbers fans, at least you got the Timbers. Yeah, I mean, and that's one of them. That's kind of an effort thing, and that's something that's plagued us all season long. Our rotating out to three-point shooters, they've sucked all season long. That's one of the things where it's like, okay, I get it if Caleb Swanigan doesn't get out there fast enough to contest a 3, but he should be making the right rotation. And we're not making the right rotations. You know, we're running 2 guys at a guy. We're running nobody out at 3-point shooters, and that's why every team kills us from the 3-point line. And that's the type of thing that we've seen no improvement on. And we should see improvement on that. You know, if we're really working on that, committed to fixing that, we should see some improvement. Mellow Stay says, bro, when is Nurkic coming back? The season is almost over. TF. I have no idea. He might not come back this season. Near Zero says, instead of sticking to a body, they let their man slip them for easy rolls to the paint or open threes. Yeah, I saw a lot of that tonight. John Collins kind of ate off that. Yeah, the defense sucks, guys, and it's frustrating. Rock Solid Gaming says, my NBA subscription has run out. Is it worth renewing for Dame? I mean, depends on how much it is. And what WTF? Why are you running a 2-3 zone from an out-of-bounds play? I've questioned that all season long, man. I don't understand that. You know, I've questioned the schemes and stuff, but it's just like, I just want to see improvement. You know, bad defenders that make a lot of mental mistakes, they have the most room for improvement. So even if it's just improving them from horrible to bad, it should happen. If the coaching staff is working with them day in, day out on improving the defense, and they were doing so effectively, then I think we'd be seeing results. You know, maybe they are trying to work with them day in, day out on some of the defensive mistakes that this team makes and that some of the Portland Trail Blazers make individually. If they are really trying to work day in, day out on those things, then it's not being effective, you know, because we're seeing no progress on the court. And if it's not being effective, then maybe they're not, you know, it's not the right coaching staff. So that's the thing. People want to talk about injuries. Yes, we're playing a lineup with really bad defenders in it. We're not, you know, our bench has a lot of very poor defenders on it. It has a lot of poor defenders on it. But that doesn't excuse 84 in 2 quarters. You know what I mean? That's an inexcusable stretch of defense from anybody that is wearing an NBA jersey. But beyond that, yes, we're playing terrible players, but they should be showing improvement. I'm not focused on who we have in the lineup, okay? It's not really about, for me, it's not really about the talent we have in the lineup right now, because right now it sucks. I know that. It's about, are these guys improving? I think that's what you got to base the coaching staff off of. You can't just give them the ultimate pass of injuries, saying, you know, saying that. Let me restart this. I'll give a shout out to this donation, then I'll restart my point because I'm trying to figure out the right way to word this. Shout out to Kyle Wilson, $5 donation. He says, why are we running a 2-3 zone period with an unathletic power forward? Caleb/Wenlin ain't Chief or Mo. Stotts is setting up our guys to fail with that strategy. Yeah, I don't understand the 2-3 zone. It hasn't really worked at all this year, but they still run it almost every baseline out of bounds, even though it usually gets burnt on those baseline out of bounds plays. I don't understand the 2-3 zone. Maybe somebody watching this can explain to me why he is running that. I get the logic, just switching things up, but it's like, why? I've asked for him to switch up his pick and roll schemes, to maybe pressure a little bit more, to switch things up defensively all year, and it's like the only thing he switched up is now he just runs a 2-3 zone on the baseline, which gets burnt all the time. You know what I mean? Like, why is that the one thing he wanted to switch up? I don't understand that. But yeah, Kyle Wilson is spot on. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, the point I was trying to make is you got a lot of people out here that will give Stotts the ultimate pass and just say injuries. Like, this defense sucks because we're playing bad defenders. In part, yes, we're playing bad defenders, so the defense is going to suck. See, the people that criticize Stotts, I never hear them say that injuries aren't playing a major factor here. You know what I mean? Injuries obviously are playing a major factor here when you got a lineup including Wenyen Gabriel, Caleb Swanigan, Nasir Little, Anthony Simons, CJ McCollum. Obviously, that's not going to be a great defensive lineup. But the big thing is we're not switching up schemes depending on who we have in the game. We're not switching up schemes to at least maybe throw a different wrinkle at the offense to maybe throw them off balance, get them out of rhythm, and then maybe give our poor defenders a little better chance. And we're not seeing any improvement on silly mistakes all season long. We're not seeing any improvement with our team defense. We're not seeing any improvement from these guys. So, like, that's the additional context that needs to be taken into consideration. And that's the additional context that a lot of people who defend Terry Stotts do not take into consideration. That's the additional context that radio guys will not talk about. And then you try and have a conversation with them and they'll say, you really think injuries aren't the biggest factor here? You really think injuries don't matter? You really think that? Nobody's thinking that, you know what I mean? But that's as far as the conversation gets. It's surface level. I try and dive deep into how the team is playing. You know what I mean? And from somebody who has experience with some decent coaching, you know, I don't know. I feel like the people that have played a lot of high school basketball, college basketball, not all of them, but a lot of people who have played at that level don't like Stotts and look at it from the perspective that I do, that even if these guys suck, they should be improving with proper coaching. And the thing is, even if it doesn't translate to wins, that's fine. You know what I mean? Because at least like guys like Simons will hopefully improve defensively for the rest of the season, and then be in a position to be a better defender next year when we're trying to win games. You know what I mean? So it's like, screw it. If this season is lost, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't try and improve defensively, because we got a lot of young players who could be a part of our future. I think Wenyon Gabriel might be a part of our future. Gary Trent Jr., Anthony Simons, even guys like CJ. And Hassan, if we bring him back. We should be working with these guys to improve these weaknesses so that when next year rolls around, we have a solid base to work off of, a solid foundation to work off of. But I'm not seeing any improvement. And I'm seeing the mental mistakes and the ridiculous mistakes we get that aren't based off of a lack of defensive talent. I'm seeing those get worse, which is very, very frustrating to watch. So I don't blame Blazer fans for kind of tuning out the season, checking out. You know, the peak viewership we've had for this post-game show is like 55 viewers, where a month ago when Dame was on that insane stretch, it was hitting like 150. You know what I mean? So like I can tell that Blazer fans are kind of tuning out the season a little bit right now, and I can't blame them. Because it's hard to watch the same mistakes over and over and over and over again and see no improvement, and see them get worse to the point that we're getting absolutely obliterated by one of the worst teams in the league, giving up 84 points in 2 quarters. Like, that's not entertainment. That's not entertaining to watch your team against an awful team get absolutely ran out of the gym like that, and then to see Trae Young start punking you. Trae Young's like weak little ass start punking you. Like, you know what I mean? It's just a frustrating situation, man. It's just a frustrating point to be at. And at this point, it's not even about wins or losses for me. I'm kind of at the point where it's like, you know what? We're kind of, this season's just kind of in a very bad spot right now. You know, I'm not going to say it's over, but it's looking pretty dire. We're looking, it's probably more likely we get a lottery pick to make the playoffs right now, you know? But even if we're mathematically eliminated, I'm still watching the game because I want to see our young talent improve. I want to see our young talent play. I want to see, you know, that's the thing. When you're a fan of a rebuilding team, that's where you get your entertainment from. That's where you get your enjoyment from. You get it from watching the team build for the future. It gives you hope, and it's fun to watch guys like Nasir Little improve his three-point shot and start knocking down threes and play better. It's fun to see Anthony Simons string together a good game, which he had a decent game tonight. Hit some jump shots. Excuse me. Ooh. Hit some jump shots, made some plays. You know, that's in a lost season, that's what you look for. But in a lost season, when these young guys really aren't improving on some major weaknesses of their game, the defensive end, it's super rough, and it's frustrating. So thank you guys for watching this post-game show, all 50 of the people watching right now. Thank you guys for staying tuned with me and riding this out with me. You know, the true fans ride this out. The true fans, you know, through thick and thin, you know, ride this out. You know, that's how I've always been. I'm, you know, obviously not going to stop covering the team, but even if I wasn't, I'm not going to stop watching games. I'm a diehard Blazer fan. But that also means I get super frustrated watching games like tonight. It's frustrating. So, need some Taco Bell. I'm not going to read the rest of that comment. I'm going to tune in with chat here, and I'm going to read off some of your guys' comments. If you have any questions for me or any thoughts on my spiel there, then post them in the chat. I'd love to read them. I see. Okay, so here's another thing I want to say, though, is true Blazers Uprise fan. Yeah, true Blazer fan. Not the biggest fan of true Blazer fan at the moment. But here's the thing, man, is You see a lot of people saying, oh, shut down Dame for the season, shut down Nurkic for the season, shut down Collins for the season, make sure they're ready to go next year, make sure they're 100%. They're not going to do that. I don't even think they'd be allowed to do that. Like, I don't know why people even talk about that, because you're not going to shut down Dame for the rest of the season. They're going to play. You know, they're going to play. So I don't want to see that. Like, it's not something that's realistically possible, and it's not even something they should really do, because I think Nurkic needs reps so he's not super rusty next year. I think Collins needs some reps before next year. And the thing is, like, even if Collins got another dislocated shoulder, if he's done playing, start of April, if it happens last game of the season, he'd be ready for opening night. Unless he had some, like, severe complication. Dame's biggest risk for re-injury is, like, re-pulling that groin. Obviously, you could have a different injury happen, knock on wood, you know, that'd be devastating. But as far as, like, the injury he's dealing with right now, biggest risk of re-injury, I think, is, like, pulling that groin. Maybe he could somehow tear it, but, like, he still would probably be back by opening night in that scenario. You know what I mean? And he'd get rest and, you know, rehab, whatever. Like, I'm not worried about guys being ready for next year, because these guys will be fine. You know what I mean? Sure, you could have something fluky happen, like what happened to Nurkic last year, you know, but that could happen. That could happen anytime. Eric, that is correct. That is the ultimate compliment. So that's the thing. The whole conversation about, should we rest guys? Should we play guys? You know, that's not really a conversation to me, because they're going to play, and it's not really, I'm not worried about them being 100%. Because I see that on Twitter a lot. Jack AH says, last year's team was so fun to watch, and now we have to watch this stuff. Yeah, man, it's a big fall, you know? And that's the thing. Tonight, I was thinking about this team, watching this team, and thinking about, like, the team we saw last year against the OKC Thunder, and it's just night and day difference, and it's depressing. And I really hope we can get back on track next year. Also has some work to do in the offseason, I think. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you guys covered. We'll ride this out together. Appreciate the compliment, People's Mix. Kyle Wilson says, I'd have Nurk play like 10 minutes a game for the last couple games for reps and let Dame rest as needed. I don't think that's enough reps for Nurkic. Like, bring him back and play him, like, I don't know, play him like you're going for a playoff spot. You know, don't wait. They're going to wait until his calf is 100%. And his leg will be 100% by the time his calf is 100%. So he will be like 100% other than conditioning and, like, you know, getting his body ready for NBA action. But once his body's ready for NBA action, play him. Get him reps. Get him back into the groove of things. See if he can find a groove before the end of the season. I think that'll set him up best for next season, which will help our team prepare itself for next season. Everybody's talking about, oh, just sit Nurkic out so that he's prepared to play next season, and that'll be the best for the team. I don't think so. You want Nurkic to get reps and get into a spot where he's in a better position going into next season than he would be if he sits out the rest of this year. Same with Collins. Are you going to cover the playoffs even if the Blazers don't make it? Yeah, we'll have podcasts, and I'll have to figure out exactly what I'm doing with that. I'll do what you guys want most. Like, we'll figure that out when the time gets here. I still want to provide a lot of content and keep you guys entertained, and maybe people will, like, tune into this channel a little bit more if the Blazers are already eliminated and I'm just covering some playoff basketball and podcasts and stuff. I don't know. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for me, then tweet them at me or comment on the video in the comment section below, so maybe I can, like, see it later. It'll be easier than here. But yeah, I'm just gonna see if I'm gonna read through the comments here, see if I missed any that I want to respond to. Let's see here. Have you seen the playoff series movies from last year? It's a good way to distract us from our current misery, or it just makes our current misery worse because we reminisce back to that and wish we could have that again this year. Also going to resign Turner in the offseason. Yeah, if he does that, I'm going down to the practice facility, barging into his office, and yeah. That's it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding for Blazers management if they're watching this. But don't sign Evan Turner, please. If Blazers management is watching this, I'd be shocked. But what's the injury report on Eric Brandt of Blazers Uprise? He's at work till 8. Zacho says, I'm pretty sure he saw Dame the other day. Where'd you see him? Have you guys thought about crossovers with other YouTubers? You guys with urinating tree would be a treat. I've never heard of urinating tree, but it'd be cool to do crossovers and that type of stuff. I kind of got bigger plans this off season that could kind of be incorporated into that. I might... You know what I'm going to do? So anybody who's a Patreon donor of me, I trust, right? Like, I trust everybody in here, but I'm not going to say it, like, out loud. But for what I have planned this offseason, like that big business plan that I haven't revealed, I might, like, reveal that on Patreon to the people who donate to me on Patreon and ask you guys for, like, feedback, advice, whatever. That might be something I'd do. And I'll disclaim it with, you can't share it public, and anybody who is a Patreon donor is not allowed to share it publicly. Like, it's not something you could talk about. But like, I don't know. If you guys were really interested in what I have planned for this off season, then consider leaving a donation on Patreon. Link is in the description below. This is the last day of the month, so if you want to appear on a podcast or a live stream next month, then make sure you start your Patreon donation tonight. We'll also be doing a couple giveaways. Gotta snooze the update. Don't want my computer to start updating right now. I'll also be doing giveaways and stuff for Patreon donors. So link is in the description. You can go down there right now. $10 a month or more, and you can guest appear on a live stream. And we can just chill and have some fun and shoot the shit, because right now the team is shooting like shit and defending like shit, and it's just all bad. Zacho says, I was just walking up of Panda in OC and saw a gold Bentley backing into a spot right in front of me. It looked a lot like him. Well, if it was a gold Bentley, it probably was him. Alex said, just talk to Nurkic. He said he likes wearing suits too much to play basketball anymore. He'd rather be a fashion icon. I want you guys... Okay, I want... Little fun game for chat. I want you guys to guess what my business plan is this summer. Like, what my whole, like, idea is. What my whole business plan is. I want to see if anybody gets it right. I won't say if you get it right, but I want to see if somebody gets it right. If there's a bunch of guesses, I might say somebody got it right. I want to see. What's your guys' guesses? What do you guys think I'm up to this offseason? I'm curious. Beer garden? No, it has to starting at OnlyFans. No, it has to do with YouTube. Has to do with YouTube. I'm curious. I don't think anybody will get it, but somebody might. OnlyFans. Yeah, you guys don't want that. Filming all your Rec League games. I'm gonna start a dumbass gaming channel. That's not what I'm talking about, but I will probably start a gaming channel. Is this dude trolling? Dumbass gaming channel. No, it wouldn't be dumb. It'd be a gaming channel though, just so I could chill with you. I could live stream and it wouldn't be based around a Blazer game, so maybe the vibe would be a lot better. LeVar Ball impressions. YouTube Red. Getting a live reporter into the locker room for home games. That is something I'm going to try to do next year. That's not what I'm talking about, but that is something I'm going to try and do next year for like maybe a college student or something that wants to get into sports reporting or something. I would possibly make it so that they wouldn't ask questions, but they would have a Skype call going with me on like a second monitor, and it'd just be, you know, them filming the locker room, filming different interviews. And they'd have like a mic connected to their phone, because you can like connect like a mic that plugs into the phone charger of a phone. And then what I could do is I could say, okay, let's listen to Dame live in the locker room, and I could like skip over to a scene that just had that Skype feed from that person's phone or whatever, and the audio from it, and we could like listen to live interviews, like live. It wouldn't be stealing anybody's stuff, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like that could be something cool. I'd have to get a press pass for somebody, and obviously I wouldn't be the one down there. But like that'd be good, like exposure for a college student. I don't know. Collabing with Neela selling feet pics. Are you dumping me for Neela Madison and going to start selling feet pics and doing TikTok dance videos? Hey man, if I sold you out for Neela Madison, views might honestly go up. Just saying. But I'd never do that because it'd go up for all the wrong reasons. It'd be all the simple men and 14-year-old boys that, you know, think she's super attractive, and because she likes basketball, she's like a goddess or whatever. So they'd be, you know, tuning in, putting her up on the big screen, asking her for feet pics. You'd instantly get 1,000 new subscriptions. I don't know, but trust me, hey, if I was selling out, I would have never criticized Stotts in the first place. I would have made this like some like stupid, you know, fair, you know, Stotts is the greatest, we're just dealing with injuries. I would have made it some super basic stuff like the rest of she is hot, she's not, I'm not gonna get into that, but she's okay. Her tweets, see if she didn't tweet out some of the stuff she does, maybe I'd have a different opinion. But you guys gotta stop. I know she started posting dance videos the last couple of days. She can do whatever she wants, man. I'm not gonna sit here and hate on her, even though she'd do it to me, cause she's toxic like that. Somebody has kind of guessed what I'm going to do, and I don't think it's the person you guys expect. That's all I'm gonna say. Have Tori ask the questions Portland media is too scared to ask. See, I wouldn't want to get whoever was in the locker room, I wouldn't want to get their press pass taken away. Neela is broke. I'm kind of broke too, not going to lie. Your guys' donations feed me. So shout out to Kyle Wilson for helping me out tonight. Under every one of her posts now, there is a "but I'm toxic" post by here too. What do you mean? What do you mean, Eric? Josh Sargent, she's annoying, man. We get like she is like associated with Pinwheel Empire, so like that's just automatically toxic. I think she tweets out some of the toxic stuff from that account, but I've seen like toxic stuff from her just like talking shit about people, and like I'll do that too, but mostly it's in response to something they're doing, you know. It's in response to people being toxic. Like Blazers Twitter is just a super toxic place. Josh just signed up for Twitter so he could get the Blazers Uprise notifications. I got Eric onto Twitter like in October, right? It's just you have a lot of toxicity in Blazers Twitter, and it's from the people with the biggest accounts. So I'm gonna try and change that. But People's Mix definitely wasn't your OnlyFans idea. I guarantee it, man. Let's listen to Stotts' post-game interview. It's out on YouTube. But it's just gonna be the same. It's just gonna be the same stuff. I guess Eric isn't here, so it'd be easier because he's not like in the middle of it playing. I just so you know, I can't hear anything, and I'm like, I know you can't. Just turn on captions. But you know, it's tough because I wish I could like play it through Skype so he could hear it at the same time because the stream is delayed. But sure, let's listen to Terry's thoughts. You can post the link to the video. It'd be easier for me instead of like having to Google it. Or not Google it, search it on YouTube. Damn, I keep getting like hiccups. I don't see a Terry interview. I don't see one. I just see highlights. So if you can link it, because I don't see it. I left Twitter years ago. Too toxic for my virgin mind. Yeah, man, it's toxic. And I'm normally the one embroiled in it because I stand up for the people that normally get bullied and shit on by these bigger accounts because they actually put some thought into their opinions and don't just, you know, repeat the same like, you know, everything's peachy and rosy type of viewpoints. Or, you know, they don't sit there and say, Al-Farouq Aminu is to blame for our playoff loss, even though he shot 43% from three. His shooting got us swept by the Pelicans, even though he made over 3 threes a game and shot 43%, because that was the narrative after that series. Like, Twitter can be funny. It just gets frustrating. Here's a Stotts video. Let's see it. Don't know if it works. Josh Sargent got on the Blazer court. That's dope. If you guys have ever shot on the Blazer court, it's harder than it looks. I will say that, just the depth perception. But once you get used to it, obviously it's fine. Like, just without being used to it, it's tough. It's up now? It's up on what? YouTube? Because I don't see it on YouTube, man. Where's it up? You guys gotta help me. Is it on Twitter? Like, I have no idea. Blazers channel. Blazers YouTube channel? See, this is why it'd be better to just have a live stream, because you guys are saying Blazers channel. I don't even know what platform, because I just still don't see it on YouTube. I just need a link, guys. I don't see it, so if you can give me a link, that'd be dope, but I do not see it. I'm literally on their videos section refreshing it too. Patriotic posted the link. I guess the link doesn't show up. Okay, I guess the link doesn't show up. I gotta fix that. How's this dude? Okay, I'm not gonna get into Twitter with this guy trying to tell me that you're not supposed to play defense against the Hawks because they score a lot. Tweet the link at me. Tweet the link at me. This is why I don't normally mess around with like post game interviews and stuff, because and the posts in chat aren't gonna show up either. The links in chat. I just realized that. So just Mario, I don't see a link, bro. I do not see a single link because it gets hidden. YouTube like automatically doesn't allow you to post links. So if somebody tweets it at me, all this just to hear Terry say the same thing that he always says too, which is, you know, we really gotta play better defense. We really just did not defend that well tonight, guys. You gave up 84 points in the second and third quarters combined. What do you think about that? You know, they just they hit some shots, and they got going offensively. You know, and we got to do a better job playing defense. That's literally what it's gonna be. But somebody tweet the link at me, and I will watch it. All this for the same thing we've heard every time. Alright, there we go. Yeah, it said it posted 7 minutes ago, but it wasn't showing up. Alright, here we go. Let's listen to Terry Stotts.
Was it to not be able to take advantage of a team playing back-to-back? You guys didn't.
I forgot they were on a back-to-back. I forgot they were on a back-to-back. Yikes. Let me just restart that.
To not be able to take advantage of a team playing back-to-back, and you guys didn't.
Honestly, yes, they played last night, but it was a home game. They didn't travel. They slept in their own bed. So I think pro athletes are able to play back-to-back, especially when there's no travel involved. So they're a young team. They're dynamic. They run up and down, and that doesn't really change for them.
What turned the game around in the second quarter?
I'd have to look at the tape, but it's a little bit of both.
Wait, so you don't know what happened in the game you just coached without looking at the tape? Huh? Really? No way, man. No way. Come on. Terry, I like you as a person, dude, but how do you not know what happened in the game you just coached without looking at the tape? Yeah, I'm sure you could break it down a little bit more, but like you're struggling for an answer there? Seriously?
So they're a young team. They're dynamic. They run up and down, and that doesn't really change for them.
What turned the game around in the second quarter?
I'd have to look at the tape, but it's a little bit of both. They scored well both in the second and third quarter. They had 84 points in those two quarters. They shot the three well. They scored in the paint. They got out in transition. They played the style of ball that they're used to playing.
Coach, you all had 14 assists throughout the whole game. Was it more of their defense that had you all stagnant, or just Florida offense?
Well, in some ways, that's kind of the way we're playing right now. We played through the post. Look, the difference in the game was a three-point shot. We tried to use our size inside.
It always is, bro. It always is. Oh, my God, man. Okay, see, you guys just wanted me to get triggered at his answers. That's why I understand why you guys wanted me to watch it so bad. Everything, in Terry Stotts' mind, it seems like everything comes down to the three-point shot. Everything. They made more threes than us. The difference in this game was the three-point shot. Like it's the excuse for so many losses. We didn't hit shots. They hit shots. The difference tonight was the three-point shot. Like, I hate this. I'm gonna restart that answer.
Well, in some ways, that's kind of the way we're playing right now. We played through the post. Look, the difference in the game was a three-point shot. We tried to use our size inside. We outscored them in the paint. We got offensive rebounds. That's kind of what Dame out, and Anthony Simons got hurt tonight. So that's kind of where we're going to score. And our number one scorer, CJ, has the ball in his hands, so he's not going to assist himself.
What did he just say? I have to replay that. CJ has the ball in his hands, so he's not going to assist himself. Yes, Eric Brandt in chat is the real Eric Brandt. That's why you move the ball and get CJ running off the ball since he's your best scorer. You try and free him up for better looks than simply playing 1-on-1 or 1v2 and isolating and shooting bad shots and having to settle for step back threes because the defense is set and loaded up on him. That's why you run him off the ball and you get other players to assist for him. Obviously, he's not going to assist himself. So insightful. Like, God, dude. That's such a funny answer.
Kind of what Dame out, and Anthony Simons got hurt tonight, so that's kind of where we're going to score. And our number one scorer, CJ, has the ball in his hands, so he's not going to assist himself.
Golden quote. Golden quote.
Coach, because this team is lower in the three-point shooting, was it not
This team meeting us?
the Hawks?
Huh? Who? I think that's Jamie. Jamie doesn't really know what she's asking, does she?
Was it not
This team meeting us?
the Hawks?
Say that again.
Sorry, because they're not that great of a three-point shooting team.
They shot really well last night, and they shot really well tonight. So on any night,
Let her finish her question,
goes,
bro. Just let her finish her question. You didn't even like to know what she was gonna ask. She was struggling. Okay, just be patient with her. Like, you don't get hard hitting questions from our media, so at least just give them the respect to just finish their question. Like, I mean, maybe, I don't know, he just assumes he knows what she's gonna ask, and then his response is BS too. Like, we consistently struggle to defend the 3-point shot. So I want to hear, oh well. She's basically saying the Hawks aren't that good of a shooting team, and then she was going to ask something based off that, and he didn't let her answer, but the Hawks aren't, like, statistically a good 3-point shooting team. They got a lot of mediocre 3-point shooters, and his response is basically just going to be excuse like, oh, they're just shooting the ball really well, which is, like, literally the answer for everything, as if we're, like, powerless to, I don't know, maybe make them shoot a little bit worse, as if, our lack of defense, our lack of defensive rotations, our struggles on that end, as if that doesn't help them shoot better, as if, we're not giving them open three after open three after open three, like...
The Hawks?
Say that again.
Sorry, because they're not that great of a three-point shooting team.
They shot really well last night, and they shot really well tonight. So on any night, Graham goes 2 for 2, and he's shooting 25% for the year. So
does anybody remember how open Graham's threes were? Because even bad shooters in the NBA can make wide open threes. I'm just saying, see, like, how many threes they make, and he's going to focus on. He's like the one player he's going to name drop. Oh, Graham shot 2 for 2 and he's 25%. How many threes did they hit tonight? Like, let's see. That's the thing with the problem I have with our media too, is we don't really like ask hard hitting questions about our continual like we've continuously struggled to defend the 3-point line, but it's nothing like, well, if I was to really ask Terry Stotts a question right now, it'd be, so teams have regularly hurt us on the 3-point shot, and it seems like we're struggling to defend the 3-point line. What do you have to say about that and our lack of improvement in that area? But his response to that would be like, he'd be offended if you asked him that, and he'd be like, "Whoa, you know what I mean?" Like that would be the type of response. But like, you can statistically prove and back up that we have struggled to defend the 3-point line, and it's probably getting worse. But it's the question is, Atlanta struggles to shoot the 3-point shot, and then he cuts her off and say, well, they shot good last night and shot good tonight. Trivia, Graham went 2 for 2 and he shoots 25%. You know what I mean? That's why, like, these post-game press conferences, they're the same thing every single time. Like, it's the same cookie cutter type BS. We're not even getting any sort of insightful answer from Stotts. Part of that is he's not being asked the right questions. He's being thrown just these lofty pitches over the plate, these soft questions. That's what he's being thrown here, and the answers are just a bunch of cookie cutter, like, non-insightful type of crap. You know what I mean? Like,
Sorry, because they're not that great of a 3-point shooting team.
They shot really well last night, and they shot really well tonight. So on any night, Graham goes 2 for 2, and he's shooting 25% for the year. So they shoot. If the Hawks shoot the ball like they did last night, and they did tonight, they're going to score a lot of points.
As if we're just completely powerless to do a better job taking away the 3-point line. We're just powerless to stop them from shooting well. I honestly think that's how we view, do we have any Stotts defenders in here? Like, that answer, all that says to me is he doesn't think we can do anything to defend the 3-point line better, and teams are just going to shoot well against us, and if they do, we're just kind of screwed. And honestly, our lack of improvement guarding the 3-point line and our defense, the way our defense plays, it kind of reflects that type of mindset. I don't know, guys. It's just ridiculous. Morph Mind, can't get the hell out of here, man. I'm literally breaking it down, bro. I'm literally... Don't tell me what to do, bro. Not trying to listen to you tell me what to do when I'm barely repeating the same clip when I'm breaking it down because chat wanted me to. So, God. It's the personnel, don't forget. We could improve, It's the mindset. The mindset's an issue, man. The mindset is an issue. What's EB saying? At Randall Pink Floyd. Well, there was this preseason game where they hit 23, so they're definitely capable of getting hot. Yeah, that's true. That's true too, Eric. Yeah. I still want to call you Tommy Thompson instead of Thomas Saransky. But Tommy, man, are you on Twitter? Cause Twitter, you're filled with people like that. And if anybody people on there have the nerve to say that I have absolutely no basketball knowledge and I'm a stupid, I don't know the game and I'm stupid because I don't realize that the positives of Terry Stotts outweigh the negatives 10-1. Literally, that's what I see on Twitter. That's what you get on Twitter. And it's sure, there's some positives of his coaching. I've always said he'd be maybe even a top 5 coach for a rebuilding team. He is a coach who fits a rebuilding team that needs a good culture set, that needs its players empowered, given confidence to really go out there and improve. He's a good coach for a rebuilding team. He's not a good coach for a team trying to contend. So maybe now that we're out of the playoffs, now he'll be a good coach. But it's just because that's the type of answers you give for a rebuilding team. You don't want to hurt your players' confidence or whatever, and your team sucks, so you just say these cookie cutter answers and you just try and keep the morale and the confidence of the players up. For a team that's trying to make a playoff run filled with veterans, you gotta hold these guys more accountable. You know what I mean? For a team whose goal is to make the playoffs and try and make a run this year, you gotta hold these guys more accountable if you're him. You just started the Twitter gang? Yeah. It's a toxic place, Tommy. Let's just say that. Didn't we hire Stotts when we were rebuilding? Yeah, we did. It's just you had Malone tonight go out and call his team soft because they got blown out and played soft against the Clippers the other night. They played soft against them. I caught portion of that game. It was just they played terribly. They weren't in it. They didn't have energy. And their coach called them out more than I've ever heard Terry Stotts call out anybody on our team. Has Terry Stotts ever said our guys played soft or our guys did not play hard enough, or you know what I mean? A lot of coaches do that. But Terry Stotts, the players coach, he would never do that. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing. You don't want to throw players under the bus, but you want to send a message sometimes, and you want to hold players accountable sometimes. And you want to set this attitude that, certain things are not okay. Sometimes you do that through the media, in my opinion. And, you know, you say the same things to your team. Like, but it's like when you, I don't know, man. I just hate, I hate kind of just the narrative that's set with this team, honestly. I knew what that post-game conference was going to be. The difference was the three-point line. They shot really well, and when they shoot really well, they're going to score a lot of points. Was like, did he say one thing about the defensive side of the ball? He said we gave up 84 in 2 quarters, but he didn't really say, like, yeah, we were struggling to get out on shooters, or we were struggling. Like, I don't know. You didn't even really say we were struggling. You just like, yeah, we gave up 84 in 2 quarters. I don't know, man. It's just... it's just frustrating, man. It's just frustrating. If the ball goes in the basket, they will score points. Yep, that's basically what it is, Trevin. That's basically what it is, man. Shout out to Ash. Sorry I missed your $2 donation. He says might need to check the tape on that one. I don't remember what you're talking about, but I think I was watching the Stotts video at that time. I don't know. Sorry I missed it, but appreciate the $2 donation. Jaylen Brown. What Jaylen Brown just do? Dude's playing too many minutes. What do you mean, Tanner? Like, are guys just tired? Probably. He plays the starters like 36, 37 minutes a game in a blowout loss. Like, what Jaylen Brown do? I gotta see what Jaylen Brown did. I can't show it because it's NBA footage, but I guess I'm twittering Jaylen Brown. I'm guessing he just postered somebody. Oh, he had a... Oh, he tied the game. Okay. We got a good game going on here. Can put that on the background. One on the phone, one on the TV. That's how you do it. You put the stream on the phone, one headphone in. You put the game on the TV because Houston and Boston about to go into OT. I think OT probably already started at this point. But Jaylen Brown just hit a buzzer-beating 3 to tie it up to send it to overtime. Off a missed free throw, too.
Intentionally.
I like Jaylen Brown. That guy's a fun guy to watch. The Spurs just gained a game. Their score just go final. They just beat the... No, it was in San Antonio. So actually, maybe it just went final. So are the Spurs ahead of us now, then? Yeah, the Spurs are ahead of us now. So we are 11th in the West. I would like the Wizards to start winning more games, maybe pass this up. Because they're only 2 in the loss column behind us. God, that's disgusting to say. So right now, we're tied for 11th with the Kings. So we have 2 teams in front of us. So we're like 11th, 12th pick range right now. I mean, we're getting up there, you know? We're getting up there. I wish this was a good draft, though. So right now, being 12th, we have 7% chance of getting into the top 4, 1.5% chance of getting the first overall pick. If we're tied with Sacramento, 11th worst team, they right now would have a 2% chance of the number 1 overall pick and a 9.4% chance of getting into the top 4. So, I mean, they did even out the lottery odds for last year. Starting last year. We could be the 13th seed at the end of this road trip because we're only a game and a half ahead of Phoenix. So actually, maybe we couldn't. But we could definitely be 12th. He's not a Blazer fan, War of Mankind. The People's Mix out here pointing out the obvious, though. Like, no shit. We're garbage without Dame. No, we just got blown out by the Atlanta Hawks. No shit. Where's Jason Jensen to tell us we're still contenders? I don't know, man. I kind of miss Jason Jensen, but oh, there's Eric. Do you just get home?
No, I'm at
Oh,
work.
I thought you were gonna.
I brought my
Oh,
stuff to work.
got you. Oh, you closed at 6.
We close
Or
at 8.
at
I
8.
still have to do it
Oh,
after we're done here.
yeah.
But
I don't know how late I'm gonna go,
yeah,
but so yeah.
I definitely needed to
So how
talk,
much of the
though.
game did you watch? Whole thing?
I watched the whole
yeah,
thing.
That was fun.
I think I missed like 30 seconds of the start of the second half.
I
but
missed the first 6 minutes of the second half. I overestimated how long halftime would be, and then I saw we were down like 15. It was like, okay, that's when we gave up like 24 points in like those 5 minutes I missed. Is like, oh, that changed. But yeah, no, that's just another game, another typical defensive effort. It's just pathetic at this point.
I'm not muted, am I?
You're muting yourself because you're not saying anything.
I just want to make sure before I start going off that I'm not muted.
Well, what do you mean go off? I'm past going off at this point. You're trying to go off?
No, I know. No, I need to
Okay.
talk.
Well, let's hear it.
So I have 3 things I want to talk about. What do you want first?
Give me the options.
The dumb way we play, our defense, or that I'm convinced Stotts is tanking games?
Which one do you want, chat? I think I know what chat wants, but I'll let chat decide. Which one do you want to hear first? I know what I want to hear first.
Yeah, Randall Pink Floyd is right. Why would the players want Stotts
I
fired?
know he doesn't hold
make
him
play
accountable.
defense.
He's their buddy. You know what I mean? So then all these defenders are like, "Whoa, listen to what the players say about Stotts." It's like, okay, then like can't take a player at his word. Giannis loved Jason Kidd, and then when they got rid of him and hired Budenholzer, it was a fantastic move. And I don't think Giannis would change it at this point. I think it'd be the same thing with Stotts if we hired a good coach like Budenholzer, like we should have done in 2018. Dumb way we played. Tanky Stotts. The tank. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear too. I want to hear why you're convinced that Stotts is tanking.
So I want to preface this by saying it doesn't make sense to me why Stotts would do this unless he's just trying to prove a point about the roster and not having talent or anything. But I am convinced that he only does stuff during games to show people like, see, I tried it. It doesn't work, guys. Let's go back to my awesome defensive system. Told you it doesn't work. You guys wanted us to double team. Let's double team Trae Young 40 feet away from the hoop when he's 0 for 4 from 3 and 2 for 8 from the field. Yet we decided to double team him with 2 minutes left in the half. He hasn't done a single thing the whole game. And not only that, but he doesn't even get a pick to double team him. We just send Ariza from across the court. He sees Ariza coming for 10 seconds before he even gets to him for a double team. As soon as he gets close enough, he just passes it to a wide open shooter and has a 3-point shot, which, sorry, the other team just made shots. They've been hitting shots the last 2 games. Didn't you see that, Tori?
Yeah, I love your Stotts voice, but yeah. Eric's at work, so he can actually go off right now. I like it. No, I mean, yeah.
But like, dude, seriously, like we don't double team like anyone all year, but we decided to double team Trae Young at the end of a second half, which he has done nothing this game. Like he was literally sucking. Like he could not hit a shot.
I thought we were defending him
and
well.
we decided to double. Like, why would we double team him? Like that's it. And then they get 2 wide open threes based off that, and it completely changed the momentum of the game. They went into half with like all the momentum.
We didn't rotate behind. That's the thing too, is if you send a double, like, which didn't really make sense in that situation because we were actually holding them down. Gary Trent Jr. was playing good defense. If you send a double, you gotta have guys that are ready to rotate on the backside and rotate out to these shooters. And no, it wasn't there. So you get wide open threes.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just convinced that he did that just to show, like, see, I tried to double team. It doesn't work, guys. Like, go back to my system. That's awesome, and
And
it
then you'll get
always
the
works.
people out there that'll say, "See, you don't know what you're talking about. He tried what you wanted, and he switched something up, and it didn't work." And it's just like just so devoid of like the proper amount of context needed to like to really discuss this. Because if I'm saying if I'm saying I want them to double at half court, well, I also want them to defend properly behind that and rotate out to shooters and like play properly behind that. So if Stotts calls a double and they double team at half and then they don't rotate or defend properly behind us and it gives up open threes, I'm not wrong for saying we should double. I'm saying we should double properly, and they're doubling improperly. You know what I mean? They're not like executing the double like they should, which they don't double enough to properly execute. And that's my whole thing at the start of the year is I said we need to defend in multiple different ways so that when we get later into the year, we can run double teams, or we can run different types of defenses and know how to defend properly behind a trap, or know how to rotate properly in different sort of schemes. But no, he's just going to randomly throw out a double here. Like you said, just randomly throw out a double, and it doesn't work, and it's almost like, I told you it wouldn't work.
Well, the thing is, too, like, there wasn't a pick coming. We just, like, ran a double at him from, like, and we didn't even start at half court. Like, Ariza ran all the way down the court to his man and then tried to run all the way back to half court to get him. It was so awkward. It would never work, ever. And that's not what we're talking about when we're saying try new things. But, like, if Trae Young's coming off a screen in that position and you decide to double team him and trap him just all of a sudden one play with, like, 2 minutes left after you haven't done that all game, then awesome. That's perfect. Like, that would have thrown him off, and then there would have been, like, a split second. He might have thrown the ball away or something because, like, he wouldn't have known what to do. But, like, you can't do that to an NBA team, and that's not what happens to Dame, yet we double team him. We haven't double teamed him all game, and 2 plays in a row he kills our double team. Yet we've gotten double teamed by Dame like the playoffs the last 3-4 years, and we still don't know how to attack that. Like, dude, come on! It's like so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's.
And he did that stuff. It's the same. He did this one other time this season in the Dallas game at home, the last time we played Dallas, where he brought in Caleb Swanigan at power forward and used him to double team Luka in the same way. And Luka just waited for Caleb to run far enough away from his man and just throw it over the top. And it got burnt those 2 times either. Like, the guy does not know how to coach. Like, he does not. Maybe he's okay at offense. And like, if he's an assistant coach where he can coach the offense and not have to worry about any other thing that's going on, fine. But like, he literally cannot coach defense at all. And he needs to be told that he either needs to bring in an assistant coach that he will give complete control of the defense to, or he's gone. Like, that's the only way this is going to get solved, because he has no clue how to make a defense work. Like you were talking about a little bit about individual team defenders getting better. Like, even if every single team defender or even every single individual defender got better throughout the season, if the team defense regresses and they don't know how to play as a unit compared to just individually, it won't matter, because it'll get crushed. Like, if you have one weak link, it gets exposed. And that leads me to our play style, which is dumb, which is like, teams attack ours and exploit the weaknesses and the mismatches and stuff in our defense, right? And we don't do that to them. We had Hassan Whiteside, who's shooting 61.1% going into this game, being guarded by John Collins. He got the ball once in the first quarter, like, spun him around. Collins fell to the floor. He was so confused on defense, and Hassan easily laid it in. Next play down, it was a couple plays later, CJ gets the ball. Whiteside had Vince Carter guarding him. He's in there to the post, like, calling for the ball. CJ instead takes like a step back contested 3-pointer that bricks. They go down, hit a 3. It's like so dumb basketball. Like, we don't take advantage of mismatches. We don't play to our strengths. We just let people go one-on-one. It's like, let's get their turns. we posted up Melo like 6 times in a row. He wasn't doing anything in the beginning of this game. Like, but we can't post up our bigs. Swanigan comes in, same thing. He has a nice spin move, lays it in over John Collins, doesn't see the ball again. Instead, we go back to Melo in the post. It's like they don't have any centers healthy right now. Like, why don't we expose them inside? And if Whiteside starts to miss, fine, but at least you were trying to involve a player that's shooting. He makes 6 out of 10 shots
The thing is,
on the year. Like, let
and you know
him
what's
get
funny
going.
is,
like, we don't have an offense involved enough to get him baskets going to the rim, or like he had to like get most of his points off offensive rebounds and stuff like that, which is fine, but like we should have some sort of offense designed to exploit those mismatches, and we don't. And it's unless we're scoring off ISO. And that drives me crazy that he's like, oh, well, we tried posting up a lot this game. Well, yeah, it was with Melo, and he wasn't getting any separation on his guy. DeAndre Hunter was doing a good job defending him most of the game, and we still kept going to him instead of like trying to go after other mismatches.
well, you know what's funny is,
Yeah, and then CJ can't assist himself. Well, why is he taking a step back 3-pointer when you have a mismatch in the post? Why doesn't he look at that?
well, you know what's funny is, oh, we were playing stagnant and didn't get many assist numbers because we were trying to play through the post, but it was a lot of Melo. It wasn't like the mismatches. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was like Melo going against DeAndre Hunter, who's a good defender. It didn't really make a ton of sense.
And he was like, at the point of the game where that play I was talking about with Whiteside on Vince Carter, Melo was like 2 for 6 or 2 for 7 from the field. It's not like he was having a good game or something. And then the next play down, we go down and post him up instead. Just drives
Wait,
me
was
crazy.
LeBron for life Zacho? Is that Zacho trolling us? When we got what he deserved, he got that 300-second ban. Mario got that 300-second ban for telling me to shut up.
Oh, come on. Mario was right.
You literally talked for... I was literally going to interject for 5 seconds.
I know. I'm just kidding. And then, so another dumb play we have. So we have the ball with 27 seconds left before halftime, right? And they actually did that same double team that Stotts tried with CJ. What does CJ do? Oh, let's just dribble right into it. And instead of passing to the 2 wide open shooters that you have because of the double team, let me just force up this mid-range with like 10 seconds still on the shot clock. Oh, brick. Oh, look, fast break for them. Instead of having no time to go down and get a 3, they score a 3. There's still 5 seconds left in the game. They shouldn't even have 5 seconds to get a shot off, let alone there's still being 5 seconds left on the game clock in that situation to get to get a basket. And so, like,
situationally aware and smart.
Yeah, so instead of like going into the half maybe on a bucket, and even if you miss, it's not a big deal, but they get another 3 points off of it. It's just so frustrating. Like, we play so dumb, and it's like you cannot win in this league with little details like that where you're constantly messing up, and like it's not just one person, it's so many things. Like the refs are kind of BS, I thought, with Whiteside getting the technical for saying and one.
Yeah.
Come on. And then the flagrant foul, like, I'm sorry, but if someone's trying to nutmeg you, you should be able to foul them hard. Like, screw that,
Yeah.
Like, that's not a flagrant foul,
I didn't
in my
think so
opinion.
either. If he tried to do that in the 90s, he would have gotten put into the floor. Not on the floor, he would have been put into the floor. So, Yeah, CJ, Jacob made a good point earlier. Jacob, I'm not going to try to say that last name. I'll probably butcher it. Welcome back, Zacho. He said, watching the game, you were never really thinking CJ is totally controlling the game right now, or even CJ is clearly the best player on the court. And I agree with that. Like, Trae Young was obviously the best player on the court tonight. He's better than CJ. But, like, when CJ's playing with the bench, you're never thinking that. He doesn't, like, control things for the bench, even if they have good talent around him. He isn't, like, and he never, like, really looks like he's clearly the best player on the court. The only time he ever looks like that is when he's, like, super hot. You know what I mean? But, like, so still, he'll force a bad shot in the middle of that stretch, and it's just like, what? Or he'll, play horrible off-ball defense, and, like, CJ just... I've been defensive of CJ, man, but I don't know. Like, and he's had, like, some really good passes and played a better style of basketball without Dame, but like he's still not situationally aware, and he's still not improving in that regard, and he's still not, his off-ball defense is still very, very bad. His on-ball defense is okay, but his off-ball defense is terrible. And when your star plays like terrible off-ball defense, it's hard to like really like focus on that yourself. You know what I mean? I don't know. CJ's just a frustrating player, and he's just not. He hasn't improved on anything in the past 5 years. You know what I mean? He's only turning what? He's 28 years old now. In the past like 4 or 5 seasons, he's hasn't improved. That's a problem to me. Mm-hmm. Like, what is he doing in the off season? You know?
Well, it's just because Damian Lillard hogs the ball, and CJ doesn't have a chance when he's in the game.
Even though he touches the ball all the time. Yeah, and plays with the bench, and yeah, I hate that excuse that people use, man. Like, CJ he's just, even, like, you look at his free throw shooting. Like, did he shoot no free throws this summer? How do you go from 92%, like 3 years ago or whatever it was, now he's a 74% free throw shooter? How is that possible? Especially for a guy who, like, loves mid-range jump shots. How are you only shooting 74% from the line? It doesn't make sense. Like, I feel like he doesn't work hard enough in the offseason. I question his work ethic. And I question, not necessarily his work ethic, I question the type of stuff he works on.
He works super hard on
exactly, like these ball handling
like
moves
crazy
and
shots
all that.
and step backs.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
He doesn't work on reading the game better. Doesn't seem like he's working on free throws. He probably doesn't work on defense. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be like speculating this, but like from what I see on the court, I question if he's working on the right stuff. I question if he's, really cares about improving the finer aspects of his game, because he'd be a really good player if he would improve the finer aspects of his game. He'll still have really good games because he can score the ball, but he hasn't become more efficient. He hasn't become a better. This year he's been a little bit better, but overall his playmaking hasn't really improved. It had been regressing for years, and I think he might be making more plays this year just out of necessity. He hasn't really improved like aspects of his defense. On ball defense has gotten a little bit better, but like everything else defensively has probably gotten worse. You know what I mean? It's just like, and then you see he'll post all these clips of him doing all this ball handling stuff and shooting all these like mid-range fadeaways and that type of stuff, and it just kind of makes me cringe at this point. Like, we know you can score the ball, you got to improve other things though.
Trevin's maybe onto something. He says he's not turning around fading away while shooting free throws, so maybe that's the problem. But like, maybe he should start with his back to the basket and turn around and shoot a fadeaway on his free throws instead.
Yeah.
or set up like a fake defender there and like try to cross him over and then shoot a free throw.
Oh man, yeah, that'd be maybe he'd shoot 80% then. I don't know, but the fact that he shoots 74-75% just kind of like telling. Like, I feel like if he just kept working on his free throws, he'd be fine. You know what I mean? I assume he'll work on them this offseason because they've gotten so bad, and he'll get it back up above 80%. But it's just like, it's so frustrating how he's... And also, it's like, he does all this fancy finesse type stuff, and you see him working on it constantly in the offseason. Like, does he not watch film and think, I want to be better attacking the basket and maybe get to the free throw line more than 2.5, 3 times a game or whatever it is? Like, I could be a lot more efficient of a player and a lot better if I could simply like get to the line more. So maybe I should work on studying myself, studying my game, studying film, and doing different stuff to get to the free throw line more.
Yep. Yeah, instead of fading away, like pump fake and go into the guy when he gets
because
in the air.
Guys try to contest all the time. They're so used to him shooting it. He could easily pump fake, step through. Like, he used to do that a little bit more. Like, he doesn't really do any step through moves anymore. Like, he rarely does step through moves. It's always like he has to shoot the first shot opportunity he gets. And he could get, honestly, like, even in the past where he stepped through, it was like, CJ, just the guy's jumping at you, just get to the free throw line. Like, just stay there. When he hits you, shoot. And get to the free throw line, and he doesn't do that type of stuff. He doesn't do any like stuff that I'm like, oh, that's a savvy veteran move from CJ. You say that all the time with Dame, with him like getting to the line and him just making like certain plays where it's like, that's a savvy veteran move. It's just like,
that Jason Joseph has a couple of great posts that I want to mention. So one is it's like they rely on players to get better on their own, which is true. It's like you mentioned with Trent, he watched film on his own, he said, all by himself, and got better on defense that way by like watching people spit and just breaking down film himself. It wasn't anything the coaches did. It's not like he said, "Oh, Coach Tibbetts or Coach Fargo, they've been working on defense with me all season and it's gotten better." Like, when was the last time you heard someone say that? Maybe about Vanderpool, like working with the guards, but that was mostly like an offense thing whenever they said it. Like, I don't remember the last player who was like, "Oh, I've been working so hard with this coach and it's really improved my defense." Like, you'd think you would hear that every once in a while.
You hear that with other teams, with other coaches. You hear that. You don't hear that with the Portland Trailblazers, man. And that's the thing. When Gary Trent improved a ton defensively and then said that he basically did all the work by watching film himself in this summer, like just getting in the gym and like improving himself by himself, like that was so telling to me. You know what I mean? Because like if we had a coaching staff that helped every player do that, there's no way we're giving up 84 points in 2 quarters against the Atlanta Hawks. You know what I mean? It's just like the whole mindset around the way this team is ran from the coaching staff, I absolutely hate. And the thing is, we can overcome it and make a Western Conference Finals run because we still got Damian freaking Lillard, and we got CJ McCollum, and we got Rod. We got some talented players on the court. Like, but I just like this season has made me hate Stotts more, and I didn't think that was possible. Like, it just because the mindset, they don't. It just seems like they don't care about defense from a coaching staff. The only person who seems to care as much as they should about the defensive end of the court is Gary Trent Jr., and he's improved more defensively than I've seen any Blazer under Terry Stotts in Terry Stotts' entire tenure here. So it's because he did it himself. It pisses me off.
Well, then you have like the Nurk fever time. Like, Nurk hadn't really practiced with the team much, like, so he wasn't getting like coaching during that time. And in like successive seasons, of course, like then he gets coached. But like, it's almost like Ariza's first few games here were great defensively. Melo was actually okay defensively. I wouldn't say good, but like, he wasn't terrible. Like, so why are they coming in and okay initially, and then it seems like they're getting the good defense coached out of them into a system where it doesn't work around your talent? And if you don't have the talent to play good defense, like, at least try a new system. Don't keep playing your same system over and over again, and then don't just throw out some pitiful double team just to say you tried something different and it doesn't work.
Their enthusiasm for that end of the court has completely fallen off. I don't think it's an energy. I don't even think it's like, oh, you know what, they're older and it's getting later in the season, so their energy, whatever. I don't think it's. I think there's a difference between like enthusiasm and energy. Like, you can go out there and bust your ass, and you can go out there and not play with a ton of energy, but be like, I don't know how to explain the difference. I mean, some of you guys might know what I mean, but like, what were you gonna say?
Here's how I'll put it. Like, every game recently, we've heard some of the players talk about, it's got to start now. Like, season's running out. We got to go for it. Well, like, we know what we have to do. That type of thing, right? And that should equal defensive effort, right? Because, like, when you're on the floor, you should see guys flying around, like, diving for balls, like, going after it. Like, this is our season on the line. We got to win this game against the Hawks. And tonight you just saw, open three, open three.
Like, they don't care. Yeah. Saw guys just kind of standing around, watching guys shoot. Like,
if you cared about making the playoffs, anything, the coaching staff, the players, whatever, like, it all seems like they're just out there for themselves. It's all a bunch of individuals playing. You go to a pickup game and you haven't played defense with these guys, and you could all be good defenders, but like, if you're not playing together as a unit, it doesn't matter. And like, everyone's kind of given the gym effort where like, you're only caring about hitting that next three. You don't really care about putting that effort on the defensive end. But like, if they truly cared about making the playoffs, it just seems like they'd be digging in, slapping the floor. Like, not really that exaggerated, but like, you know what I mean? You don't even see any of them getting up and like excited to play defense. Whereas like I don't know, in this situation, your season's on the line. You should be fighting. You should be like going nonstop on defense. Like, anytime someone gives up an open shot, you should be like, no, come on, we got to stop that. Like, but I just don't see any of that. Like, not once do I see
came
that.
in here and played with enthusiasm for defense. You know, that's why Blazer fans were like, oh, I love Trevor Ariza, because he was playing with enthusiasm on the defensive end. And then I feel like he doesn't have anything close to that same enthusiasm now. Like, I feel like it's just like, I feel like he's almost thinking, this coach wants me to go double. Okay, I'm going to go double. Pass out of the double to an open shooter who nobody is around, just like, and Trevor Ariza has been around a really long time, played on championship teams, and he's probably just like, I feel like he's just, you know, goes and doubles, turns around, ball gets passed out, sees a wide open shooter, and he's just thinking, this is stupid. Like, yeah. I'm going to try, but like, just the attitude and the aura like of guys on the defensive end is just like, they're just like hopeless, and they're just like, well, this is stupid. We're back on defense, let's try, I guess, just maybe a little bit. I'm not gonna run out, you know what I mean? Like, just such a like a lackadaisical sort of attitude towards that end of the floor, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, and the thing is like, that's an indictment on the coaching staff too, because if I'm a head coach, I think a good NBA head coach would be lighting into these guys for having that sort of attitude, and I think we have the type of players that would respond well to that. I think we have the type of players that would respond well. Like, but I feel like Ariza is just like, I feel like Ariza would respond well to that. But I feel like his enthusiasm and then lack of enthusiasm on the defensive end is a byproduct of everything around him, of like Terry Stotts not holding guys accountable for their defense, of guys that like that aren't really giving much energy on the defensive end, and he's just like, well, this is stupid, what am I supposed to do? The coaches are holding these guys accountable for not busting their ass. They don't know how to play defense. We're not working on defense enough. Like, you know what I mean? So like, screw it. I feel like that's his attitude right now.
Did you hear Ariza after the last game? I'm going to paraphrase this, so I'm sorry if I get it wrong, but it was something along the lines of, oh, like, we'll get this figured out, or like, we're fine, like, whatever. And then someone was like, there's only like 22 games left to do it or whatever. And he's like, really? There's only 22 games left? Like, oh crap, like, we better go then. Like, dude, come on. Like, but that's how the whole team seems to, like, you listen to Terry Stotts, he's taking on the attitude of Terry Stotts in the locker room too, because he doesn't really seem to care either. There's no urgency at all. It frustrates
me that fans don't have a problem with that. It frustrates me that fans don't have, certain fans have.
No, dude, you're an idiot if you don't think Papa Stotts is like the best coach ever.
God, man. Like, it's just, I don't know how you don't have an issue with that. I mean, Dwight James even tweeted out today, like, this goes beyond injuries. This is kind of inexcusable right now. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
Finally.
But they all hate Dwight James.
You know, Dwight James just does a terrible job, but still gets paid. But, you know, not toxic, right? Like, God, it's just like I've learned so much about just the commute. Just, I don't know. This season, I feel like it's so telling in so many different areas, from Blazers Twitter, from the coaching staff, from like we kind of learned about, like, I think we don't have the same culture because some of the role players we lost. I haven't really gotten to that, but I feel like guys like Aminu and Harkless, guys that busted their ass while other guys didn't,
right,
and they didn't say a word, and you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we don't really have guys like that, you know? I don't know. I just feel like this season is just so like, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know what the right word is. It's just,
I mean, I can't disagree with Randall's saying. They're mailing it in. I mean, it really seems like it. You know, we've said this. How many times have I said this season, Tori? Olshey got an extension. Stotts got an extension. CJ got an extension. Dame got an extension. They went to the Western Conference Finals last year. They proved something. Like, they come back this year thinking they have it made. They're like good now. They're never going to get questioned again. And yeah, the injuries definitely played a huge part in this. I'm not saying they didn't, but like, you could just tell that they don't have that same drive that they had last year to prove that the getting swept by the Pelicans was a fluke and we're going to prove everyone wrong. We're still a good team and all that stuff. They just don't have that attitude this year.
I feel like Dame kind of has that attitude, but it's not enough for him to like get the rest of the organization to adopt that attitude, and he's kind of like affected by that in turn. But like Dame having his best season, like he improved this year. Like Dame still will go out there and bust his ass, even though he's like required to do everything offensively when he's on the court. You know what I mean? Like you got a coaching, like it's just like you got to change stuff at the top. You got to get a GM who like wants to go all in and will do whatever it takes to try and make that all-in move to make this team a contender, because I don't think that's Olshey. You got to get a coach who will hold guys accountable and will do whatever it takes to try and get their team to the, in good playoff position, and then knows how to handle certain situations that you face in the playoff and can adjust, can run different schemes, can actually be a good playoff coach. Like that's where things have to change. And then I think if you got that, and then you got some guys that like played hard, like got some dogs on the team, Patrick Beverly type, not necessarily Patrick Beverly, but just like a couple of those types of guys, an Aminu type, Harkless type, go out, find guys like that and get some 3-4s. Like I feel like that's how we have to get. That's what we have to do to win a championship. But right now, like you said, it was like we went to the Western Conference Finals and we were happy with that. It's like, oh, well, we proved ourselves, so we have nothing left to prove because we made it to the Western Conference Finals. But, we got some more talent this offseason, so we should be able to, like, make it back to the Western Conference Finals and maybe win a championship. Like, let's start talking about championships since we made the Western Conference Finals. But they didn't come in with any sense of urgency, any sense of, like, chip on their shoulder, any sense of, like, you know what I mean? It's just a different vibe the whole season.
They were like, we're a championship contender now. Like that's what they thought. Like their media day interviews, everyone was like, yeah, we're
as
talking
if they
about
had already earned it from the previous
but
season and they didn't have to earn it this year. So
Steve Sandstrom asked a really good question. Could this season give us that chip on our shoulder again, and with a healthy team make noise next year? I would say yes, it could. But I feel like instead of using this season as a chip on the shoulder, they're going to just write it off as, oh, well, we were injured. And that's how everyone's just going to justify it. So I don't know if that will necessarily lead to it. I'm hoping that now that it doesn't seem like we're going to make the playoffs, that does bring that chip back for Dame and be like, oh, no, you can't just say, oh, don't worry, we'll still make the playoffs. We'll still make the playoffs, because that's how he's been the whole year. Like he's never worried about not making the playoffs.
Dame's the only one who plays with a little bit of a chip. You know what I mean? And it's just like that's the thing. It's like I feel like Dame has the right mindset. There's just too much garbage around him to like really like I don't know. Like there's not enough people in the organization, from the GM to the head coach to some of the players around him, that adopt that same mindset. I don't think CJ adopts that same mindset. I don't think CJ plays with a chip on his shoulder. I don't think he's really like trying to become. I don't think he's trying his best to truly become the best player he could possibly be. And it's just like, it's stuff like that. It's just super frustrating. Then you get a guy like Hassan, who's the type to like dunk on somebody down 20 and flex, and like doesn't fit the type of culture we really need. You know what I mean? It's almost like we've kind of gone away from the culture that was working with us. I thought we got more talented this offseason, so I defended Olshey, but we don't have Aminu, we don't have Harkless. Even Evan Turner I think was probably good for our culture, and we got a bunch of players who aren't smart players particularly. I wouldn't say like we got Bazemore, Whiteside, and then we're throwing Simons into the lineup. Like we didn't really value basketball IQ, and then we just don't have guys that are willing to go out there and bust their ass and raise their voice if something goes wrong. So I think that's kind of how we've ended up here.
Yeah. Henry said he's never seen me or heard me this mad.
Oh, he's been more mad than this.
I've been more mad than this. I was like, go check the trade deadline stream.
Yeah.
But I felt for the first time this year that this team had truly given up, and that makes me mad, because even with how crappy they played over the last 6 or 7 games, 8 games now, whatever it is, I still like they're still right there if they just would win games like this and not just completely lay an egg and not show up. Like, you got to win these type of games, and like it just hit me like it's not happening this year. And then I know what's going to happen. Like, Dame's going to come back like the first game back at home, and like they're going to try to push for the playoffs anyway, and it's just not going to be what's best for this team long term. And yeah. And then we're gonna make a run, and we're gonna finish ninth, and we're gonna get the 14th pick, and we're not gonna move up in the lottery, and the 10th pick in the lottery will move up to 1, and then we'll all be pissed off, and yeah.
Yeah, man, it's pretty sad where everything's at right now. It's sad that our first season covering has to be like the saddest season in a decade, like, you know.
I still don't think it's as bad as I mean, it's disappointing because of all the injuries and stuff, but like 2011,
yeah, but we didn't
12 was
have
really...
like a core player. You know, we didn't have a Dame that we were letting down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was like we traded one of our veterans for a really good lottery pick, and we fired the coach, and we were like in between GMs. You know what I mean? Like, we were reshuffling, and like we were that season sucked, but it was like, okay, we're going to change things up, and we're going to improve from this season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This year, I don't get that vibe at all. That's why it's worse for me. It's the worst season that I can really ever remember. Because even before Brandon Roy, it was like, okay, we're rebuilding. We got to get clean from the Jailblazers era. You know what I mean? Like, this might be the most disappointing season in the entire 2000s. I think you could make that case. Like, this will make you and your platform stronger, Tori, says Thomas Sadaransky. I always want to say Thomas Sadaransky, but Thomas Saransky. Yeah, man. I hope so. You guys are rolling with us. So I always remember the people that like ride with us through the disappointment and through the struggle. So I appreciate you guys.
And part of it too is like, I'm so sick of people like, I know there's devil advocates out there all the time. But like, you know who I'm talking about probably, but got one guy like, well, why are you talking about effort? They don't have the talent to win this game or whatever. It's like, dude, they're playing the third worst team in the league, and you can tell they don't have any effort. Yeah. Like, why are you excusing that by a lack of talent? Like, just because you don't have talent doesn't give you an excuse for not showing effort and not playing defense and not leaving it out on the floor. Like, if you don't want to make the playoffs, fine, but don't try to tell us that you do care about the playoffs, because you obviously don't.
Less talented than the Hawks. Like, that's like a stupid argument from the get-go. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean,
I could understand the argument that their future is more talented, maybe, but like, you know, once Dame is out of his prime and stuff. But like,
somehow Kenneth knows who it is. I don't know who Kenneth is on there, but yeah, man, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense.
And then you have all these people that excuse it for the injuries, right? And then they excuse anything bad Stotts does by, well, he just has like the worst roster ever, and he makes them get to the Western Conference Finals. So how could you ever say anything bad to that? And I just keep thinking, why doesn't anyone ever say, dude has Damian Lillard? Don't you think it's Damian Lillard that took a horrible coach and a horrible roster to the Western Conference Finals? He didn't coach up Damian to be like this great player. Damian does everything on his own. So like no, Stotts did not get us to the Western Conference Finals. No, Stotts has not done anything to improve our team. Damian has. Damian's been here the whole time Stotts has been here. And it's Damian Lillard that has drugged this franchise on his back, not Coach Stotts. And anyone who says, oh, well, Stotts gets the most out of his roster because it's so crappy. No, he has Damian Lillard, who covers his ass every time and has gotten him to the playoffs the last 6 years, despite his
this was the same
coaching.
Roster that was beating teams like the Lakers. What other good teams did we beat? My mind's blanking on me. We beat a beat-up Pacers team, but like we beat a lot of playoff caliber team, the Rockets, whatever. It was Damian Lillard plus the team we saw tonight, which got absolutely destroyed by the third worst team in the league. So that shows
Yeah.
you what Stotts is without Dame. But then when he doesn't have Dame, oh my God, we have the worst roster in the entire NBA. You know, it's always the roster. Even after 2018, when we get swept by the Pelicans, people were saying, oh well, we got swept by the Pelicans because Al-Farouq Aminu just is not a good enough 3-point shooter. Never mind the fact that Al-Farouq Aminu during that series shot 43% and made over 3 threes a game, shot a better percentage than Nikola Mirotic did that series. And people were like, oh, we lost this series because Nikola Mirotic killed us and Al-Farouq Aminu can't shoot like him, even though Aminu's shooting was better. You know what I mean? It's always the roster. That's a perfect example. It wasn't, you know, we were running pick and rolls 40 feet away from the rim when Dame was dealing with a really tough trap, but we were still running pick and roll every possession near half court where Dame would get trapped, and then he wouldn't have an outlet to pass the ball and everybody would stand around and not know how to help Dame. So then Dame would turn it over because he's getting smothered, and we kept running pick and rolls for 40 feet away from the rim. You know what I mean? And like that was the main problem with that series, but people just automatically blamed Aminu's lack of shooting. You know, they didn't look at, maybe we're not making any adjustments at all. Maybe we're not putting Dame in the best spot when he's dealing with traps, and we just run a pick and roll 40 feet away from the rim. Like, it's always going to be the roster with these people. You know, it's ridiculous. It's frustrating.
Yeah, and then those same people trash Aminu and Harkless last year, and then blame this season on not having those guys. You know, like Turner's the worst player in the league, but I wish we had Turner now. He was good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Maybe not that extreme, but you know what I mean.
I'm gonna do the math on Mirotic and Aminu in that series. I have to add Mirotic's like playoff game log, career playoffs. So Aminu during our series, Mirotic during our first round series was 12 for 26 from the 3-point line. Al-Farouq Aminu during that series, let's find it, was 13 for 30. I guess they were similar. 12 for I guess Mirotic might have been higher. Mirotic was 12 for 26. Aminu was 13 for 30. So basically identical. And people were blaming Aminu's shooting for us losing the series when he shot 43.3%, but Mirotic killed us from 3, even though they shot basically identical to each other.
Oh, and what did we have that year? Oh, a trade exception. And who would have fit into that trade exception? Oh, Mirotic. Like, we could have had that guy,
and he got traded
too.
for a first-round pick, you know?
Yep, first-round pick. We could have traded our first-round pick for him.
Obviously, that was the pick we got Simon, so, you know, maybe that wasn't a good move considering that he went back to Europe, but...
I don't know. I feel like we could have... Yeah, I mean, that's... Yeah. Well, they had him the whole next season, but then they traded him to the Bucks. So it was like one more year.
The people's mix. Aminu shooting 33-point shots in that series on 43.3% is really good. What do you mean? It doesn't matter like who it is. If you get 33-point attempts and you shoot 43.3% on them, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And Blazers fans blamed him for us losing that series. They said he can't hit a 3-point shot to save his life. He's the reason we lost that series. In order to excuse everything else, in order to excuse Stotts, in order to excuse like the awful offense we were running that played right into the hands of the defense of the New Orleans Pelicans, which got us crushed. No, instead of, I don't know, possibly holding Stotts accountable for once, no, they blamed Aminu's 43.3% 3-point shooting that series. It doesn't make sense, you know what I mean? It's always something like that. It's frustrating, man.
And people's makes that trade for 4 seconds for Nico was the Bucks the following year. That wasn't the year before. He got traded from the Bulls to the Pelicans for a first-round pick and Omar Ashik and his crappy contract.
Yeah, we could have gotten him for a little bit less because we
had
a full traded player exception that we could have absorbed Mirotic into without giving him back a crappy contract. I don't know, but that's kind of like, you know, off the point. It's just, you know, people will always blame. Yeah. People will. There's a lot of people out here, especially people that cover team, that will always blame the roster And I'll always blame Aminu, like guys like Aminu, for not shooting well enough, even if they shoot 43.3%, making over 3 threes a game. That's just how it is. You know, it's just stupid to me.
And so you mentioned Dame getting doubled, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we doubled Trae Young, and who killed us? Treveon Graham. Like, you don't think our players are better than Treveon Graham? He was a throw-in in the Crab Teague trade just because Minnesota wanted him off the roster that bad. They didn't even need to include him in that trade, but they just wanted to get rid of him. Like, you're telling me, guys, our coach can't even figure out a way to use the roster guys we had better than Treveon Graham is being used by Atlanta right now this game. Like, that's so sad to me.
Yeah. God, man. It's just... I hate this season. I hate this season. It's been so frustrating.
And then, like, he doesn't even give Little a chance in this game. Like, that's what else drives me crazy is, I mean, Gabriel played a little more than he normally does, but, like, the players that actually give effort, like, even if they suck, I'd rather watch them play right now than watch Melo and Ariza and those guys play 35 minutes and not give any effort. Like, I just want people on there that are going to leave it on the floor. And if we go down and get our butts kicked because we're just not talented enough, fine. But, like, I don't want to watch a game and feel like we just don't care or don't give effort. And I know that's hard to quantify, but, like, if you watch this game tonight, there's no way you could have come away with thinking that game was maximum effort.
Yeah, well, we were down 15-20 almost the whole fourth quarter, yet somehow Ariza and Carmelo both played 37 minutes. Maybe they are just.
We're down 20
Maybe
in the
it's
third
not
quarter.
like Ariza just is enthusiastic to play defense because like his body language has changed on that end. Maybe he's just completely gassed because of how many minutes he's playing. You know what I mean? And then he's like not playing with effort, and like they're both like seem like they're playing lazy defense and just playing with no energy. But yet you got energy guys on the bench like Nasir Little that are only playing 10 minutes. Go out, play Nasir Little 22, 23 minutes, see what happens. You know, cut down Ariza's minutes. He didn't have a good game. He was 3 for 9 from the field, 10 points, 1 for 6 from 3. Like, I think Little could replace that and play maybe just as good defense. You know, like, just the team's struggling. Like, switch it up. That's the thing. He's not adaptable. He just has like this note. It's like he has this note card and he just, well, I'm not going to pay attention to the game or the score. I'm just going to go off the note card. Okay, it's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Okay, Little, get in there. All right. Okay, it's start of the fourth. All right, Ariza, get back in there for Nasir. All right, man, Nasir, good job, man. Good game.
No, it's like, oh, we're still within 20. Gotta keep Melo, CJ, and Ariza in at the fourth quarter and let them play like 20 minutes in a row, or they are like totally can't even move at the end of that stretch.
Stotts criticizes Little so much, ridiculous. Does he? I haven't heard him publicly do that, but it wouldn't surprise me that the one guy who like really busts his ass more than anybody on the team is like the one guy Stotts holds accountable. Just like the one guy that cut more than anybody on the team by far last year, Jake Layman, Stotts didn't like him. So that's why they got rid of him for free. You know, it's just...
That guy played with effort too.
Jake Layman played hard and cut, moved. We had good ball movement with him in the game. Stotts didn't like that, I guess. I'm so tired of the Stotts experience, man. That's the thing. It's like, if this season sucks, maybe we'll get rid of Stotts, right? No. We just re-signed him to an extension. If Paul Allen was the owner, maybe it'd be different. But after that run last year, we locked ourselves into Terry Stotts for the next 5 years. I'm just so tired of it, man.
And Olshey's not going to fire him unless it turns into an either-or type of thing. Like, if Jody's like, either you're both gone or you need to fire him, then he's obviously going to fire him, right? Because he's going to protect his own butt. But, like, he can't go to Jody and be like, I know we just gave Stotts an extension last summer, but I think it's time for him to go. Because she's going to be like, dude, you just talked me into giving him that extension less than a year ago. Like, now you're telling me we need to fire him?
Jody for that. You know what I mean? Because
yeah. She's not. Yeah, I mean, you can maybe blame her for this season not wanting to add money, but like I don't blame her for that
Yeah,
for the way the
she took
season's
over the
going.
team, and she's been
But
great considering she wasn't like really like
yeah,
personally invested in this team. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't blame her for wanting to shed money or get out of the tax or whatever. You know, I wish we had a GM that could be more creative and accommodating that in a productive manner, but we don't. And honestly, like I wish Jody just watched our post game shows to try and like learn some things and like I don't know, because that's the thing. I don't think she's like really knows a whole lot about basketball, so these problems probably just seem like injuries to her, you know. So it's like that's the thing. That's why we said Stotts isn't going to get fired. Olshey isn't going to get fired. They just signed extensions. This season is just going to look like injuries to Jody. Jody's not going to want to fire him. Olshey isn't going to campaign to fire him because Stotts is Olshey's guy. I bet Olshey just thinks it's injuries too. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know. I would love to talk to Brian. I don't know. I wish Brian Wheeler was still associated with the team because like we need some insight on what is happening with.
Well. So I don't want to say the wrong thing here because I want the team to I want this season to be because of injuries and next year just hit the ground running and we're awesome and we're good again and make a deep run in the playoffs, all that stuff. Like I hope that's the case. I'm not saying I don't want that. But unless we completely suck next year with a healthy roster, like it's going to justify all these crappy things that are happening, and then it's just going to prolong it out further into like 2 or 3 years from now when we're still asking, oh, why doesn't Stotts make adjustments in the playoffs? Why can't he improve the team defense over the course of the season? And it's like things that we've noticed for years, even before this injury-plagued season, that are going to cost us getting over the top eventually in a future year. But unless we come out horribly at the beginning of next season and it's just a disaster, even with a healthy roster, it's not going to change any of the people on the top that can make a difference to get us to that point. So like, it's just like frustrating because I feel like we're stuck, but like, I hope I'm wrong and that Stotts can lead us to a championship and all that stuff. And Olshey will make a bunch of good moves. And this season was just an outlier. I'm just afraid that it's gonna take either being wasting another year next year, or it's gonna mask the problems again by having a good year next year. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I agree with that. I just had this guy tweet at me on Twitter a while ago. Said the Hawks aren't a team you play to shut down. Look at their scores; they're all above 110. The problem is when you can't score more than them with their terrible defense. This was a bad offensive game, like for Portland.
I mean, it was bad offense.
84 points in 2 quarters. I don't care who you're playing against. Eric's getting buzzed. He's getting rang. Yeah, I mean, that's what's kind of sad. It's like the Western Conference Finals just kind of put us in a bad position. I definitely agree with that. I'm asking because I'm not necessarily a Blazers fan. I'm just a huge Dame fan, but learned to like the franchise because of this community vibe you guys created. The question. I honestly want to know what gives you guys hope of ring during the Dame era. I don't know. Maybe Dame becoming an MVP. Glad that we made you like the franchise more because of the community vibe. That's pretty cool to hear. Especially considering how much of it is like this franchise really struggles with a lot of things. Eric hired his new head coach. Let's go. All right. I'm talking to the coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Eric Brandt. What's up?
I don't want to be head coach. I want you to be coach, and I'll be the GM.
I want to be both. I want to be president of basketball operations and head coach.
But we can help each other out.
Like the GM, but I'd be president, so I'd have to like. I'm not selling. Right. I'm not selling with this franchise. It needs my full oversight.
You're just being
it needs
greedy,
my full oversight. You know I would make moves. My creativity would be top notch. I'd be like Danny Ainge, but like better, you know, like not scared to pull the trigger on a Kawhi Leonard trade. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what I'm saying, but I wouldn't want to be a head coach. That's a lot of you got that. That's not an easy job to take at this point. Really, you got to get some players who are used to having their way their whole career, and then you're going to try and hold them accountable. It takes the right head coach.
See, I would love to be an assistant coach because you can take players under your wings and just like talk with them all the time, like always be in their ear, like always letting them know what they're doing, and like I feel like I would be better at that. I do have some coaching experience, but like I would never be able to just like go in and coach an NBA team. I'd be so over my head.
You want moves? Hire Jerry Dipoto as GM. Yeah, where's the Jerry Dipoto of basketball? He didn't do anything this offseason though. So
that was Bob Whitsitt.
Bob Whitsitt, Trader Bob. Yeah.
Tori's already claiming he'd be the like Bill Belichick of the NBA, run the personnel and when has that ever worked out really? For a team having like someone in charge of both personnel.
Have they ever given me that responsibility? No. So that's the thing. Is like it will work out when I get that responsibility, because I'm obviously like a million times smarter than Terry Stotts. I'm obviously like deserve to be a head coach. I like could out coach Pop. I could out GM Danny Ainge. Like I know more about anything to do with basketball than like anybody who's ever lived. So like obviously
what's funny is like I know you're joking, but like you're not joking, you know what I mean?
No, I am joking. Don't even say I'm not joking, bro. What the the hell?
I'm saying I know you're joking, but you're not really.
Compared to the average fan,
cocky.
I'm not that cocky. What?
Yeah.
Bro, how can I be joking but also still be as cocky as what I'm joking? That don't even make sense, bro. Don't even say that. Because then people will be like, he's serious, bro. Tori thinks he's actually smarter than everybody who's ever existed. And it's like, no. Like, just because I know stuff doesn't mean I think I'm a genius. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Is like uneducated people, whenever somebody who like truly knows stuff tries to like make a point towards them or try and like explain things to them, that's like if they don't want to listen, that's their go-to. Is like, well, you just think you're so smart. You should be head coach then, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what a lot of people are like, and it's just so annoying. So that's what that joke was based off of. So that's why you said you actually like that. No, I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
You asshole.
I got to give you crap
compared to the average fan. I think I am very, very CBA smart, very, very basketball smart.
I'll just say this right now. I have no idea how I would be as a GM, but F anyone who says, oh, well, you'll never be a GM, so you don't obviously know anything close to what Olshey knows as a GM. Like, you could never do as good a job as some crappy GM because you're not a GM and you never will be. Like, no crap, dude. Like, I don't have any kind of connections to get, like, even if, like, you or I would be the best GM of all time, like, there's no way we'd ever get offered that position. We don't have an into basketball. Like, we don't have connections. We don't have like any way. We weren't former NBA players. Like, there's no way we can even get our foot in the door to even figure out if we could do that. And the type of people like Caleb Canales who worked their way up as a video editor to like a interim head coach and stuff like that. I mean, how rare is that? Even Spoelstra, his dad was a coach in college and worked for the Blazers organization for a while, I think. So like, I mean, even though he was kind of the same way as Caleb, he had some ins that normal people don't have.
Yep. Exactly. So.
But yeah, I would put my knowledge up against like anyone, and like it's also the things like that stupid trade that I made about like, well, what if we just got like Trey Burke or Jonah Bolden, and Philly gave Atlanta cash, and like I had people telling me like, how could you possibly think that either of those teams would do that trade? It's like, well, Atlanta's getting the same exact trade we had, so like, how can you say
Yeah.
that? Like, you don't know anything because you're not the GM. You weren't in those talks. Like, you don't know if they would accept that. Like, yeah, I do. They did accept the same trade. Like, what?
Yep.
Like, I don't get it. Like, no, you weren't. You didn't talk to them. Like, you'd have no clue if you're right or not. Like, okay, dude.
Yeah, and then like for Philadelphia's end, they'll say they're basically saying, "Oh, you don't know that Philadelphia would rather send out $1.3 million in cash compared to cutting a player for $1.6 million. You don't know that they do that." It's like, why the hell wouldn't they? Like, what?
How do you know Olshey didn't talk to them and they said no to that?
Because basically Philadelphia had to cut somebody. We could have sorted it out where we got back like Jonah Bolden or somebody, right? And I don't know how to explain this trade to chat, but basically Philadelphia could have sent money to Atlanta, the same amount of money we did to Atlanta for them to take on Scal. And then we wouldn't have had to send out money to get rid of Scal, and then we could have taken on a player from Philadelphia that they otherwise cut, like a Jonah Bolden or Trey Burke. And basically, Atlanta would still be getting money with Scalabus here, same exact trade they got anyway from us. And then Philadelphia, instead of cutting one of those guys, would send out less money and then trade one of those guys away. So they literally save money. They literally are getting rid of a player, but like getting rid of him while having to spend less money on them. So they literally just save money and still end up in the same position. So literally it doesn't make any sense for anybody to hit him with that argument. Like, how do you know those teams wouldn't do that?
On top of that, they had to give James Ennis away for free to Orlando. I think they got like a protected second-round pick or something just to get back under the luxury tax, where if they would have done the trade I was talking about, they could have kept Ennis and been over the cap and still had all their roster spots accounted for.
People are just stupid, man. And you literally can like make so much logical sense that you know for sure the two teams would have done it, and they'll still say, "Oh, you didn't know that they do." Like, you know what I mean? They don't see the logic or like I don't know. It's just. It's like the people. It's like if we gave Scal away to Atlanta for free, and then you said, maybe we, for the hell of it, we should have just also given Atlanta money with Scal, and then fans would be like, "Oh, how do you know Atlanta would take that?" You know what I mean? It's like, how do you know they'd take free money? You know what I mean? Like, that's always the argument. And like, there's a lot of places where that applies, but there's also places where that doesn't apply. So like that trade idea you had doesn't apply at all. So
yeah.
Anyway. Probably gonna log off soon. Our viewer numbers are dropping. It's kind of sad, man.
Yeah, they do a bunch of work.
55 peak. I appreciate the people in here sticking with us, but you know, you guys are the real MVPs of this channel, the true supporters.
Just to warn you, the game on Monday I think is at 4, so we're gonna have to start our podcast early.
Okay, that's fine. Also, last day to donate to Patreon if you want to guest on a stream in March, since it's February 29th, and we will be doing giveaways in March. So your last, it's the last day of February. So link is in the description. Go leave that Patreon donation. I love, the support through there, man. And I read Jason Joseph's post. It killed me for years having to explain Dame always losing, but since I've gotten tuned with you from True Blazer fan days, you helped reassure it's literally the franchise. Yeah. Hey, man. I'm glad people see what I see, because I would always just be like vocal a bit on Twitter and have these big Twitter accounts to just kill me for it. You know what I mean? But like, I was confident in my knowledge. Like, I know what I'm talking about, So it's nice to, even though like I'm confident in my knowledge, it's nice to have other people see what I'm talking about and be able to explain it and be able to like reassure people who like had other, were kind of second guessing about it, just like reassure them in their own opinions, if that makes sense. Yeah, it is literally just the franchise, man. It's I'm glad you I don't know. I love to hear comments like that, honestly. From, it makes me value what I'm doing even more, and that's the thing. Like, viewership numbers down, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like I want to entertain you guys and like give you guys a place to vent and allow you guys to voice your opinions and just give you some insight from my end, and from Eric's end. So I appreciate everything. Like I said, link is in the description for Patreon if you want to guest with us next month on a podcast. And we'll be doing those guest stuff into like the off season too, and it will probably be even easier then. But yeah, so he said whoever attends Blazer games should start fire Stotts, chance to force him out of there. Yeah, you get like 75% of the arena though. That would be like what the hell. But yeah, we need to roll up there with the Blazer.
I think it'll be more than that.
Yeah, because you know how like the majority of the fan base views it.
I actually think he'd probably get kicked out.
Actually, you know what? I think a third of the fan base is like questioning Stotts. I think a third of the fan base is, and then 2/3 is like Stotts is the best.
I doubt it's that high, like at games.
I mean, well, of the people that like care enough, the people that really care at games, I think it's probably 1/3 is like questioning Stotts. Just like questioning him isn't even like questioning being like a lot softer than what we do.
I feel like it would be the Astros organization stealing signs about sign stealing, and then kicking people.
Yeah, for real.
It'll be like that. Like you start chanting fire Stotts, it'd be like, "Who said that? Get him out of here!"
Oh, it's that Blazers Uprise guy. That guy doesn't know anything. Donkey clown, ass clown, man. Like, yeah, I just be sitting there like, hey man, just watch my post game show. I actually think I make a lot of sense, and you might agree with me if you really are objective about it. And they're like, no, you hating on Papa Stotts. Screw you. I love Stotts. Stotts is such a genius. Injuries, you're gonna get injured too right now. And then I get beat up by a crowd, and then I come on the post game show and I'm just bruised, and that's just how it goes. I'll say the Stotts mob got me. Tori, you see the Zags game? No, I was streaming. But Zags won. I saw that they won, which is good. That's funny, I'm dealing with this crap. But, like, my college basketball program is one of the best ran programs in college basketball. One of the best coach programs in college basketball. So I can enjoy that. March Madness is almost here. It's almost March. Yep.
Tomorrow.
I'm kind of glad this month is done. This month has kind of been hell, to be honest.
If anyone's got a membership to 24 and lives in the Portland area, come ball with me tomorrow morning.
Yep. Well, I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate your guys' support. I'll get a Peeps and Plaid coming out overnight, and then mailbag coming out overnight or tomorrow morning. Just didn't want to release it on a game day, like 30 minutes before the game. Just figured I'd release it after. So I'm like, I need to take some Tums or something. I got like, I don't know. I keep like trying not to burp on stream. Should have just ended the stream with one of those and cut it. But I'll catch you guys later. Have a good rest of your night. And we'll see you Monday, podcast, post-game show, all that. So until then, as always, see you later. Peace out. Go Blazers.